He's such a good dude. At the film festival, where was it? It was out at the end of Massachusetts. I forget what they call it. I want to say Cape Cod, but that's not it. But
Nantucket?
no, but or maybe I forget the name of it. But anyway, it was the one he goes, Providence?
Could be.
Provincetown? Which one's in Rhode Island?
Providence.
Provincetown.
Providence.
Okay, so this is Provincetown. They have a film festival. I guess he likes it. He does a Q&A with the person every year who gets like some sort of recognition or award or something like that. So I was talking to him, and he was just like, I was like, when are you shooting again? He was just like, I got this script. It's taking me years to find cash. He's like, they just don't want to make my movies anymore. I was like, stop it, man. You can find money. He's like, nope. And I was like, come on, dude. You're John Waters, man. So I don't know. I mean, sooner or later they lose interest in you. You know what I'm saying? I guess. Me, the only reason they haven't lost interest in me is because I can point to an army. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all. The only reason they care, they don't like my work. They don't think I'm doing anything original, and they don't give a shit that it connects with the audience. But they know that, like, he's an anomaly. He doesn't have a mainstream audience, but he has an army enough to kind of last nearly 2 decades. And that's just from the chit-chat. You know, it's like I didn't reach ahead. Motherfuckers got into my job, and they all reached ahead. Everyone wanted bigger, better, spend more, do things, push it, be famous, people's friends, and shit like that. And I was always about reaching back, because I'm like, I ain't ever going to what do I give a fuck about impressing those people? I'm going to impress the people of the world I came from. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are my people. I'd rather communicate with the audience. I was an audience member first.
So for these young... Oh, sorry, you talk, man.
Yeah, I got a question for you about the movie. You talked about the first death scene, how important it was to get that, and how you had something planned. I got a lot of students who come to me with scripts, read this, what do you think? And I think, well, it's good, but you could put a little bit more intellectual energy into it, and it could be better. It seems like because of budget, you got forced to put a lot more
necessity
intellectual energy.
Necessity is the mother of invention, as they say. It was like, you lose the budget, dude. You're forced to be creative.
That moment, though, the unique way that you solve that problem, you were solving a budget problem.
Yeah.
And I think you realize after you see your movie, after you see that you also solved the story problem, you solved the character problem, and you created something that wasn't there.
That's indie film, dude. Like, if we had a studio budget, if we had a studio, if it was the way that we normally do it, that special effects guy would have told me $5,000 and been like, okay, do it, and that would have been that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But if, in a world where we couldn't, it was like you're forced to be more creative, and the movie improves because of it. Like, don't let anybody tell you more is better, man. It is always better to have less money, because this is a ridiculous art form. You got to remember, man, if you want to paint, it's very easy to grab a canvas. You don't even need a canvas, man. You can just grab a wall, you grab a piece of cardboard, a piece of paper, and all you need is a surface on which to paint or draw, and some utensils to do so, and within 5 minutes, a motherfucker will hand you art, because that's easy. It's easy to paint and shit. Some dude can write you a song or a chick in 2 seconds. Someone could sing, express themselves that way. This is ridiculous. This is like, it takes millions of dollars and a lot of people to try to impart a thought. And that's what I've come to after like 20 years of doing it. I'm just like, it's ridiculous. There's so many easier ways to communicate. And for me, it's taken me this long to figure it out. Film's not my first language. I mean, I always knew that, but like, visuals are not my first language. I'm not a visually oriented person. I don't even, like, look at me. Obviously, I'm not about visuals. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's always about content, about what you're hearing, more so than what you're seeing. So, the idea of kind of like doing film for a living has been amazing. It's awesome. Great job. Make pretend for a living is the best career on the planet. But it's not my first language. It's like learning 2 years of Spanish, moving to Spain and trying to blend. And I never blended, and it never felt like a good fit. It always felt like me wearing a suit. You never seen me in a suit, and there's a reason why, because I look stupid in a suit. I just don't look like most people. Some people put on a suit, they look very good. Me, you look at me in a suit, and you're like, well, it's technically he's dressed. But that's all I could say. And it's the same thing with the films. They watch the films, they go, well, technically they're directed. And let's leave it at that kind of thing. So you kind of get to that point where you're just like, I've done it a bunch. I'm okay to step back, and it's even easier to step back when you realize how much time, like 4 years it took us to make this. 4 years, and it took us to find $4 million. And when we made it, when it started, oh boy, it went real fucking fast. It was like 26-day shoot. Like literally, the day one of this movie was September 21st, and that's about 6 months and 3 days ago. So in that time, boom, not only we make the movie, but we're out here fucking exhibiting the movie at this point. But still, it's so much money, dude. Like I sit there and I watch it and I go, I remember like how much the bullets cost, and I remember Scotty Props coming up to me and going like, we have 3 bullets left, and we had 8 hours left to shoot, and I was just like, oh my God, we're literally just gonna have people going bang, 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 and shit like that. So you just sit there going, it's so much effort and fucking work to go through, and there are moments where it's insanely rewarding. That's why I think I wanted to go out in the world with the movie and stay connected to the audience, because when I sit here, I'm reminded that's why you fucking do it. Because when I'm on a set doing it, I'm like, this is ridiculous. You know how this money could be used for like much more important things than fucking Jay and Silly Bob pictures? There's a lot of guilt that comes along with it, I think, at least for me, because I'm like, this is a ridiculous way to make a living. My father was a postman, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's more valuable. That dude took messages to people. Well, he didn't deliver the mail. He's got canceled your stamp. It's a shitty job, but he hated it. But still, he had a real job. My job is make pretend for a living, and it's a field where people are just like, we got a problem. What should we do? They're like, here's $1 million. That'll fix it. That's not creative, and it's more of a business on the other side. And that's fine. It's like nothing wrong with that. I love big bombastic movies, but they're just making product at that point. You know what I'm saying? And when you got enough money, there is no problems making product. You can sit there and make fucking all those movies all day long, because Lord knows if you fuck up, they'll give you a bunch of money to go back and do it again. They don't do that in this world. In this world, you get one shot. So you sit there going like, okay, I'm gonna be more creative. I'm gonna fucking like think outside the box. And sometimes it's because you want to, and sometimes you have no fucking choice because you have no cash. So it was great, man. Honestly, I'd advocate for anybody who's lasted any period of time in your film career, do it inexpensively again. You know what I'm saying? Like it was great doing it in the beginning, and that's kind of what got me here. And then I think for a few years I just got kind of complacent, and not like I certainly didn't phone it in. I emptied the tank on everything I've ever done, but they weren't coming from a pure place. First 5 movies came from a pure place, came from living at my parents'. It's like who I was. Those movies represent who I was, and me making those movies, I've always felt in a weird artsy-fartsy way, was giving up that whole part of myself, because I put so much of myself in those flicks. So when I was done with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that was it. I had nothing personal really left to say at that point. I'd said it all. And then I just started manufacturing stories, because I was like, this is a great fucking job. Who wants to leave this? They punch your golden ticket. You don't say a word. You're supposed to just sit there and be like, this is great. Keep sending me the money. That's cool. I'm not built that way. Like, I didn't come into this to get famous or become rich or keep making more money. People like to go like this. I don't. I'm more like this. And I came into this to tell stories. And because of this, I found other ways to tell stories, like on the podcast or being up on stage talking and shit. But this was the first love. And I like to think of film as kind of like the way you think of that fucking one girlfriend, the one that like you would have killed or died for, the one that you gave it all up for, the one that you're just like, oh, she controls me, I'm twisted around her finger. That's what film was to me in the beginning. I fucking loved film. I wanted to fuck film in the shower all the time. We were in a heyday, a honeymoon period, me and film. And then you do it for a long enough time, and then you become more like my parents at a certain point started resembling each other, and they were more like best friends than anything else. Not the same passion with which I'm sure my father slammed my mother against the fucking counter or fridge and used to have sex with her when they were teenagers. Didn't really exist. They've been living decades together and shit like that. So I felt like I started feeling that way about film. Like I used to feel like, oh, I want to fuck the shit out of film. And then I was like, film and I are really good friends. We just understand each other. And to me, I'm like, it's art. You've got to be fucking messy and passionate and crazy. You've got to unsettle. You can never be complacent. If you want to make good art, if you want to make funny product, a good product, or a watchable movie, that doesn't have to cross over with art. We all know that, one iota.